All right, good morning. This is the Pathfinders. And this morning we're doing some work on our 2008 XR650L. The the big red pig, as they call it. This one's the big white pig. This is the first time I've owned one of these. I've always wanted one. Just was able to get a deal on there on one of these. I used one the other day. So we're going through and we're just checking some stuff. Updating some things, upgrading some things, inspecting it. So far, the previous two owners have done a lot of upgrades to there. You can see some frame reinforcement, exhaust, smog kit deleted, big 5.8 gallon Acerbis tank, fork brace. What I don't like is they removed all the drive console and the vaporware upgraded console. I took that all out, like thinking more off-road adventure and using your phone. I do want to put some of that back in. Reinstall the rack. I'm going to reinstall the brush guard, or the crash guard. But one of the things we're doing in the inspection is checking a known problem, which is the primary gear splines. Now, as you can kind of see in there, if you can make it out, this is a known issue. Pretty common on these things. I don't know why they haven't fixed it in 20 years, but what happens is quite simply, you can see the wear lines on there, the worn parts right kind of in the middle of those teeth. Why this occurs is because the factory sprocket, slide it on here real quick. Oh, got it backwards. Can't find my tripod. I looked real hard for it, but of course now this wants to be difficult. Well, since I'm struggling with this, I can't find my tripod. The issue is very simple. This, the width of these splines in here only uses a portion of those splines, therefore we're putting a whole lot more pressure on a narrow band of area. So let's try this one more time. Yeah, no, it's being difficult all of a sudden. So anyway, what we're gonna do is we're gonna clean this up. See how there's rust on there? A couple things happening with rust occurring. One, rust is oxidation of metal, right? It's a changing of the surface of the metal. So now you change the surface of the metal to something that's not as durable, and then you put a whole lot of torque and pressure on that aspect of it. It's going to wear out. Two, you have that spline that's a little more narrow. It's been a whole lot of focus on there, on that one spot. It's wearing it out. And two, if you look at the rear wheel assembly and this is a dirt bike. This is a big dirt bike. Street bikes tend to have a sort of buffering system, either in the rear hub or in the clutch assembly, that allows for kind of absorption of shock, especially with a big single piston motor like this. Basically, it takes away kind of a hammering effect and makes this more of a smoother pull. This does not have that. This is a straight up dirt bike by design, and it's a pretty good one, classic design at least. So we have a couple solutions. I have a different video where I talk about it, but I'm just going to go ahead and include this one because I have it here. All right, so as we talked about, this particular spline, you can see it's kind of worn. We're going to focus in on that. Super narrow. It only fits on that certain part of it. For whatever reason, it was sliding on and off earlier. It's not doing it now. There's an upgrade. It's called a Fritzco. Now what they do, see it's twice as wide, is they just make that area that rides on that spline wider. So you're actually putting less pressure on a narrower spot and spreading it out over a larger area. If you compare these two, you can see that the Fritzco has a lip on either side. Well, the stock simply does not. So what happens is, with this, when it wears out, you have to chuck it, get a new one, but you've already worn out your splines there. With the Fritzco, as it gets worn out from directional, you can actually flip it around and use it, and you basically have double the life on your sprocket. So you can get these on eBay. Fritz, great guy, design, super friendly. He's actually a big supporter of the community, so really appreciate it. And the price is great. It's like 35 bucks, 38 bucks, something like that. Well worth it. If you get one of these, I just recommend doing this immediately. It's one of the best upgrades you can do. Now, if you're a little more, this gives you a whole ton of flexibility. There's another brand too, but I believe Fritz is one of the original designers of this, so I want to give that business to him, and he's kind of local to me. If this shaft is in worse shape than the Fritzco, see if that'll slide on, we'll be able to do anything about, then the other option is from KK Bike, the Super-pinion. If you look at this thing, it's huge. It uses every bit of that spline shaft all the way out, even past the retaining clip piece. All right, I'm gonna backtrack for a minute because I was actually able to get the Fritzco on there pretty easily. But as you can see, as you set it on there, it uses every bit of the available spline on the shaft except for this end piece, right? So it does a much better job, spreads out the forces, will increase the wear of life of this. Once this goes bad, you have to replace it. You have to pull the motor apart, right? Now, as I was saying, if this shaft is damaged more than what it is there, it's pretty worn out, you've gone through a couple of Fritzcos, which should get you like tens of thousands of miles, if I had to guess, easily, and you say you buy a user thing, another good option is quite simply the KK Bike Super-pinion. It's made in Italy. Funny story, and this is nothing against Fritzco. I heard about the Fritzco, I ordered it, and somebody suggested looking at a Super-pinion. Well, I'm sorry, I didn't order it. So I looked at the Super-pinion, $80-something for this thing. I was like, well, hell. Wanted to go the safest way possible, so I just ordered it. I want to have it on hand. And then I went back and looked at the Fritzco, and I was like, well, for the price, I'm just going to go ahead and order it, right? You know, and I haven't really decided which one to use as of yet. Well, they ordered the same day, shipped. The place it shipped from for the Fritzco is 3 hours from me. The one from Italy got here first. So he sent it priority mail. Great guy, like I said, everything post office this time of year, just couldn't handle it. The DHL one from Italy got here before the Fritzco by a day. Anyway, so going back to this Super-pinion is wider than the Fritzco, but the way it's designed, you have these sleeves that hold it onto this shaft here. And it uses this part of the shaft as well. So if your shaft's really badly worn, or you get a used bike that's just beat up, this might be the better option. Otherwise, the Fritzcos, way to go. Great product, right? Another thing with the Fritzcos too, I did not get it, and I'm kind of kicking myself in the butt over it. You have the retaining clip that goes on there that screws on. Fritzco, or Fritz, you have this piece here, right? It goes on there. Fritz has a clip that slides in there for a quick change. So I'm running 14 on a 48 rear sprocket. All right, so if you want to go 15 and then back to 13, like you want to go ride off-road and do a quick change, so you can ride highway back, for the price of these freaking things and the retaining clip you can get for around $100, you can have some serious versatility on your front sprocket alone. You can switch out between just like going straight off road and go to highway pretty quickly. So that's a neat feature. This is, I'm gonna ride it until it breaks. I'm gonna put new one on, weld it on, and then I'm gonna replace the shaft. So Fritzco's obviously a great project, great for price suggested. This one, again, I know I'm repeating myself here, is like, if it's already just in such bad shape, that this is the way to go. Once you wear this out, you have to replace the whole unit. And if the whole shaft is worn out at that point, probably going to be in trouble, because you've got nothing else to increase on. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and clean this up. I'm going to pause the video for a few minutes, clean it up, and I'll show the rest of the installation. Thanks. All right, so Didn't have my tripod, so I just went ahead and scrubbed this thing with a wire brush for a while and threw some Moly lube on there. What I have is liquid Moly, anti stuff for gears. The Honda stuff may be better as suggested. This may be, I don't know, but this is what I have on hand. I didn't want to wait 2 weeks and spend 36 bucks to put this together. But it does bring a good point, right? What I did today should be considered, and I cannot stress this enough, a routine. Like I would do this every time you change your oil, right? Make sure you get all the junk off there, clean it real well, make sure there's no rust on there, and re-lubricate and put stuff back on there. This lubricant will act as a shock between the splines there because there is no dampening built in anywhere on this particular bike. So now that's all lubricated, see that there? Installation super simple. Try to do this one-handed, so bear with me. Literally just slides on just like that. And then this is offset slightly from there, so once it goes on, just line that up and put those bolts in there, and it's done. Now, me being lazy, see my chain's off back here. When I pulled it off, my chain was already loose, that needs to be tightened. I took the chain off with the sprocket. So the way I put it on right now, yeah, probably not the right way to do it. You're gonna have to loosen your chain up and put the chain over the sprocket, or you're gonna have to take your chain off and remount it completely. But here, let me, I'm gonna put the camera down. I'll get set up to do it again the way I probably need to do it. Try this again now that I've got the chain set, so bear with me. I'm trying to do this all one-handed. You know, I might be able to do this like this very simply for one reason. There's enough slop in the sprocket before when I pulled it off. It gave me some wiggle room. Might not have there now with this being a tighter fitter thing. Anyway, that was worth the attempt, so I might not include this in the video. But if I do, I'm going to go back and do it right. I'll be right back. I kid you not, that just popped right on without any real effort or doing anything else. So probably will include that part in the video. Slide that on as such. Put my retainer piece on here. Again, sorry, doing this one-handed. Boom. I'm probably gonna go back and order those clips from good Mr. Fritz. So, other than crying, swearing, busting your knuckles and tightening these things down, that's done. That's it. That's all it really is. If you got any questions, please post them in the comments. If you want to see, I'll put the links for the 14 tooth for both bikes in there as well. But easy peasy. Fantastic and required upgrade. If you get one of these bikes, just do it right away. Thanks. I rambled on a lot of stuff about wrapping up a minute ago. Something I want to point out. I need to replace my retainer. It's all torqued down. There's still some slop in there. Just seems, I don't say excessive. I would just like less slop in there. So this piece right here might need to be replaced, and I'm also going to get that clip. If it puts it in there steadier, so be it. But I'm going to ride for like a little bit until I get the parts in, since it's such an easy removal and installation. Yeah, that's it.